Hey everyone, it's Kaylee here for MicroSurvey, and welcome to the last video in my most recent series that's showcasing my favorite MicroSurvey tools that are in SurveyTools for BricsCAD. So my last video, I went over the active coordinate editor and MicroSurvey points and the point database. And today I'm going to show you guys another one of my favorite features, the active traverse editor. Streamlines the surveying process by enabling real-time adjustments and error corrections, reducing the need for rework in the field and improving the overall quality of survey data. So the Active Traverse Editor is a utility within SurveyTools that you can use to bring in a raw traverse file. I'll show you a couple different applications for that in today's video. Okay, so I have my drawing here that I opened through the SurveyTools Project Manager, and I want to go to Import here on the right-hand side. And here you can see all of the different types of files that you can import into SurveyTools. So you're not restricted to only being able to work with FieldGenius raw files or MicroSurvey specific raw files. You can pretty much bring in any type of industry standard raw survey file. So the file that I have is a RW5, so I'm going to bring that in. And then here I have the option to enter in some different parameters just to describe the job. So here is the data file. So if I was processing this data and I wasn't the one that collected it in the field, I would have the field notes beside me and I would be double checking the information, especially for things such as instrument heights or stuff like that that can be entered incorrectly. And then I would just kind of work through it. So I set up on 0.6000, I did my backsite, and then all of these light purple shots that say SS, those are side shots. You can also see here the note, so it says point check with the residuals. So if there was any sort of check shots done, the residuals would show up there. So that's another check for quality on your field crew to make sure that, that their check shots all looked good. So then moving through the data here, we have a bunch of side shots, and then we have a bunch of points that were modified. So it looks like something was named incorrectly, so we had to do some renaming in the field. And then that's it. And then you can see at the very end of the data file where it says OP6383, that means that you occupied point 6383. And then it also has a point check, so that would be your final backsite check. So it shows you what those residuals are, and then it shows that you exported a couple of your files. So as you scroll through this data file, you're just going to be looking for anything that raises any red flags. For example, so we have here for 0.50. So with 0.50, this is kind of a situation where I would do a little bit deeper digging. I'd look at the field notes, maybe talk to the crew and see, okay, we have two different shots here with two different angles. What is going on here? Another troubleshooting method might be to look at the angle in the distance and see if that matches up with any of the other targets that were shot. Like maybe 51 has that angle. So now we called it 50, but it was actually targeting 51. So just little things like that to kind of look for. So once we're happy with it, we're going to go to edit and then hit coordinate traverse. And then you have a few different options here. So it's asking that when there are multiple shots, how do you want to handle them? You could just average all of the multiple shots together. You have the option to choose the very last shot as the correct shot. And then there's the option to let me choose the shots. So because I know that there's something weird going on with 0.50, I'm going to choose this option. Then some of the other options in here Point protection status on. I usually leave that on to make sure I'm notified of any sort of changes or adjustments that are being made. You can set your tolerances. Then there's the adjust setup point elevation based on your backside shot information. So if you're fairly confident in all of your elevations, I would typically have that point on. Okay, so once those parameters are set up for the recoordination of the traverse, we will hit OK. So you'll get these little pop-ups that will appear, and this is because we had point protection on. So we want to be notified of any changes or adjustments made to these points. So if you're confident of your initial analysis in the active traverse editor, you can just turn point protection off and then it will just do its thing. But if you're like me, I like to look at every single point and see how much it's moving by. I don't know, I'm weird like that, but I just like seeing exactly what's going on with my data. So I typically will look at each individual point to see what the adjustment being made is, but you definitely do not have to. So then we also, because we had the option toggled to let us choose the way that we want it to handle multiple shots on a single point, we have this little dialog pop up. So this is saying on point 6000, these are the different shots to point 50 that you had. And then it's asking, do you want to average them all, or do you want to choose the shots that you want to average, or you can just pick one. So we can see here, as we expected, there's some discrepancy in point 50. So I think it's normal to see a few seconds difference, but this is a little bit much. So let's assume for the purpose of this video that we did some further analysis and we've already determined that the first setup was the good one and that the second one was the no good one. So I'm going to choose the first two as the points that I want to average, and then I'm going to hit continue. So then we will get that pop up for every single point that we had multiple shots on, which was unnecessary, but I wanted to show the tool. So for the rest of these, I'm just going to hit average all shots listed as long as they look like they're within reasonable proximity to each other, like just a few seconds between each observation. So once that process has finished running through, if you look at your drawing, you will see that there is now points in the drawing. So another MS Traverse tool that I find useful is the show traverse graphically. So you can have this set up. So if you have your hot toggles set up on the side to draw bearings, draw distances, draw lines and curves toggled on, when you hit the show traverse graphically, it will draw those lines in based on the parameters that you have set in your hot toggles. So if you didn't want those lines to be drawn, but you just wanted a visual of like what the traverse setups looked like, if you hit the show traverse graphically, and then when it pops up and asks you draw traverse lines into drawing, if you were to say no, it won't actually draw the lines. It will give you a quick snapshot, and then when you zoom or move your mouse, they'll go away. It's a good visual on the setups, what was shot in, and how good the ties are to any previous work that's been done. So I find this a very useful tool when I am doing any sort of conventional boundary survey data processing.
Okay, so let's do a quick little recap on what we talked about in today's video, because I know it was a lot of information for one video. So to recap, the MS Traverse tool is a microsurvey utility within SurveyTools for BricsCAD that provides users with the ability to chronologically recreate the sequence of events from the field data collection, detect and correct errors, identify any discrepancies within the field data, such as incorrectly entered instrument heights or incorrect point numbers, and also the ability to efficiently enter angles and distances manually, so easy data entry, which simplifies repetitive tasks. Users are also able to automate traverse adjustments within the defined tolerances, which ensures balanced traverses. They can import all types of raw traverse data, manipulate and adjust all types of traverses, including closed, open, and radial, and verify and correct their work on the fly due to the real-time visual feedback via the instantly displayed traverse plots.
Okay, that's it for today's video showcasing the MS Traverse functionality available in SurveyTools for BricsCAD. If you have any questions about anything that you've seen in this video, please feel free to reach out. I use variations of this workflow a couple times a week in my day-to-day data processing, and I'm happy to answer any questions or look at any type of data or projects that you might be working on that you think might benefit from this functionality. As always, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Happy surveying.